Hey guys, Paragon here. In the past, leveling up as a druid has proven to be a challenging experience and can feel particularly arduous if not done correctly. Now, over the last week, I've taken a druid to level 50 several times in an effort to gauge the swiftness of leveling and just the effectiveness of some different builds. Today, I'm keen to share with you my findings on what seems to be the most efficient leveling build that I've found, along with a few other options. Playing as a druid can be tough primarily due to the lack of substantial class-specific aspects available in the codex. Consequently, I sought to construct a build that isn't heavily reliant on aspect drops to get off of legendary items that you have to find. Before delving into the intricacies of the build, I wanted to share with you some gameplay though. As you can see here, even from a low level, this build clears quite effectively, and interestingly, I did find myself here in World Tier 1 during the early leveling phase. I'm unsure as how that happened, but once I noticed it a few levels later, I did switch over to World Tier 2 just because I wanted to show the build's efficiency and how strong it is in World Tier 2. This build excels at decimating large enemy groups, effortlessly dispatching elite foes, and outputting substantial damage. It smoothly generates ample spirit and provides an overall fluid gaming experience. What you're witnessing here is leveling journey from 1 to 50 achieved in just under 4 hours. All the gear here was solo self found, no pre-acquired tween gear or aspects were used. At level 16 I did stumble upon a pretty good two-handed axe with decent item power which I equipped. It proved to be very effective and sustained me for the extended period of time. Apart from this, the gear you see here is purely what I managed to find, nothing exceptional. I did obtain only 3 legendaries during the first 25 levels, which were decent but not extraordinary. This run could have benefited from farming some aspects from dungeons, but as I had already cleared all the dungeons, I had to wait until level 25 to unlock the occultist. Hence, no reforge or aspects on any of my gear until past 25. Notice as I progress into higher level content, the build still proves to be incredibly effective, outputting significant damage and easily clearing all the areas. The build offers good crowd control, which is going to come in handy as the build doesn't have any really good source of unstoppable. Here I started doing core dragon at level 25. I felt very confident about my damage output, so I wanted to showcase how strong the build was. However, do note that the mobs here were 5 levels above me, making this likely very inefficient given the recent nerf to experience buffs. Nonetheless, I wanted to demonstrate the build's power during the leveling process. I won't show much beyond level 25 because you can simply equip a few aspects that can be unlocked via dungeons. The rest was almost laughably easy. With minimal upgrades, I breezed right through into level 50 in no time. Before we delve into the specifics of the passive skill tree, it's worth noting that the Datamined Season 1 rewards for the Season Pass are now available and online. As you can see here, each chapter offers aspect rewards. The first chapter notably awards 5 of the new 7 legendary aspects. One that particularly stands out is the subterranean aspect. When activated, your poison creeper will also cast landslide and circle around you, a feature that may prove very useful during leveling. If you do decide to use this, I would recommend attaching it to a ring or gloves that you plan on keeping for a significant period of time. Definitely don't put this on a weapon because weapons will be replaced too often. Looking at the chapter 1 rewards, it seems they'll be relatively easy to obtain as most involve straightforward tasks like collecting 15 Galavine or completing 3 dungeons. Hence, I anticipate that unlocking chapter 1 early in the season will be feasible. In chapter 2, the rewards focus on class-specific aspects. The druid, for instance, can acquire the shockwave aspect, which enables you to switch to the pulverized build if you so desire. This aspect usually drops from gear only, but as it's a season reward, you can easily equip it on an amulet and get the pulverized build up and running around level 25, judging from the chapter 2 rewards. When I initially played the druid, I leveled with storm lightning druid until level 45, and then I switched to a pulverized and landslide hybrid build. I incorporated aspects that allow trample to cast landslide twice, and this build helped me progress swiftly from level 45 to 68 in a single day. During this time, I acquired every single druid unique item that was available, and this enabled me to then progress to my in-game builds. I have created a video detailing the process, so if you're interested in that build, check out my hybrid landslide pulverized build for more information. Okay, so let's go over the passives. Alright guys, so I just want to talk quickly about the passive tree and a couple things like the spirit boons and the skills rotation and a couple things about aspects. So to start out with, the aspects that you really need to get this build running is just Night Howler's aspect, which you can get from the Forbidden City and Fractured Peaks. So this will be really easy to farm. The other aspects are just kind of like extra. Aspect of the Expectant can be farmed by unlocking it in the Underroot in Skosklin. aspect of Inner Calm, which allows you to deal multiplicatively more damage from standing still. This works really good on amulets as it goes up to 7.5% or 10% on a weapon, but 7.5% is great. And when you stand still for like 2 or 3 seconds, it'll do like 20 to 30% more damage. It's multiplicative. It's a good aspect when you can, if you get a chance to unlock this and you can throw this on amulet, you can actually find this quite often. It's a pretty common drop also. Aspect of the Protector is a pretty good aspect to get early because you can get it in the Fractured Peaks. It's quite easy to get and it drops from the Lost Archives. So, you know, pick this up. If you have some extra shards, you can throw it on a piece of armor that's going to last you a little while. This is not overly important though. I find that this build has pretty good CC and you don't take a lot of damage, and I was able to level this up to 50 without ever using this aspect. The only aspects I really use is this one, the Night Howler's aspect, for the extra crit chance. Okay, so how this build works is you're going to group up a large group of enemies. You're going to cast Poison Creeper, and this is going to root them, it's going to poison them, and it's going to give you an increased crit chance of 20% against enemies that are affected by Poison Creeper. This, in combination with your 5% chance to crit from Scythe Talent, which is what I recommend getting first as your Spirit Boon. This will give you 25% crit, and then Night Howler's aspect will give you an additional 5% chance to crit. So you basically have like a flat 30% chance to crit whenever you use your Poison Creeper. So you basically will group up mobs, cast Poison Creeper, and then just hold down Lightning Storm and blow them up. Your ultimate you can use on cooldowns or when you want to against elites. Rabies and Bloodhowl are on here just for spirit generation. They actually both generate 6 spirit on top of the flat 20 spirit the Bloodhowl uses. So what I do is I typically put Bloodhowl next to Stormstrike. Stormstrike's a good source of vulnerable. And basically you just spam Stormstrike, and every time Bloodhowl's off cooldown you pop it, it'll give you back 26 spirit. I know it says 20 spirit, but it's going to be 26 after we get a passive that every time we change it to human form, it's going to give us an extra 6 spirit. And so every time we pop these 2 abilities, it's going to pop us in werewolf form and then back into human form, which is going to generate 6 spirit. This is what's going to really help us keep our spirit generation topped off. And in combination with the rest of these skills, it's just going to melt faces off the elites. Okay, so let's just go over the skill tree really quickly, how I would level it starting out, and then you can go from there. Okay, so for passive skills, we're going to start out with Storm Strike, Enhanced Storm Strike, and Fierce Storm Strike. This gives us a source of vulnerable early on, and even though vulnerable got nerfed across the board, it's still good. It's still a multiplier, and you still want to get it as many places as you can, so grab that. This is going to allow us to basically get our main skill, which is Lightning Storm. We're going to grab Enhanced Lightning Storm, and we're going to grab Primal Lightning Storm. Primal Lightning Storm allows us to immobilize enemies for 3 seconds, which not only gives us some survivability, but it synergizes with our key passive Perfect Storm, which whenever we hit an immobilized enemy, it's going to give us like 12% more damage. Again, we're trying to get as many multipliers as we can. Obviously, these passives here are going to basically give us some increased damage, but we're going to cost some more spirit. We're not going to get these early. We're going to worry about this later. For early on, you're going to grab these 3. We're going to grab 3 points into here, and then we're going to go straight for Bloodhowl. We're going to grab Bloodhowl and Enhanced Bloodhowl, which reduce the cooldown, and then we're going to grab Innate Bloodhowl. And what this does is it has a 15-second cooldown. You're going to pull a large group of mobs. You're going to kill them. It's going to instantly reset the cooldown on Bloodhowl because it reduces it by 1 second for every time you kill a mob. You're going to pop this. It's going to give you 20% of your life at healed, and it's also going to give you 26 spirit. As first, it'll give you 20 spirit, but as soon as we can, we're going to try to get this 3 points into Clarity, which is gain 6 spirit when transforming into human form. This will allow us to generate spirit every time we use Rabies or Bloodhowl. So this is really, really good. So go ahead and grab these 3, and once you get these 3, put it beside your Storm Strike and use these together. And every time it's off cooldown, you basically want to pop this as long as your spirit's not full. Obviously, if your spirit's at 100, don't use it. Use your light, channel your lightning first. And then on our way down here, go ahead and put some more points into Lightning Storm. Basically, we're only going to put points into Lightning Storm whenever we can't get our abilities. So as we're pathing down, go ahead and put some extra points into Lightning Storm. And as soon as you can get Poison Creeper, grab Poison Creeper, Enhanced Poison Creeper, and Brutal Poison Creeper. Once you get this, the build pretty much comes online and feels really good, and you should have this pretty early in the game, especially if you have extra skill points available from unlocking all your renown from before season 1 started. But basically what this does is gives you just a flat 20% chance to crit, so it's pretty simple. You use Poison Creeper, you have a 20% chance to crit. Later on, we're going to pick up Nature's Reach, which gives us some extra damage for distant enemies, and it's going to double it if they're slow, stunned, immobilized, or knocked back. Well, this is going to do a lot of that. Plus our lightning storms are also going to immobilize. And then this right here is just this is what we're going to get. So as soon as you get these 3 points into here, you're gonna go ahead and grab 3 points into clarity, and then go ahead and max out your lightning storm ranks. And then once you've maxed that out, we're gonna make our way down for rabies. Go ahead and get rabies, but don't get the enhanced or natural rabies. This is nice to have because it just increases your damage and it spreads faster, but it's not that important. This is gonna help keep up Envenom. Envenom used to be 30% more critical strike damage, but they've now changed it to just have an increased critical strike damage, so it's nowhere near as strong as it used to be, but it's still good to have. And especially early on when you don't have a lot of crit damage, go ahead and take this. So go ahead and grab rabies. Hold off on getting these two. Put 1 point in neurotoxin, put 3 points in envenom, and then make your way down towards you're gonna make a beeline straight for cataclysm, prime cataclysm, and supreme cataclysm as fast as possible. As soon as you get these three, you're gonna have all your skills. You basically use your ultimate whenever you're fighting elites. So go ahead and put 3 points into defiance next. This is another 12% multiplier, and since all of our skills are pretty much nature except for our rabies, which we only use that to proc envenom anyway, that's not a big deal. After that, put 3 points in the circle of life. So nature magic skills that consume spirit will heal you for 3% of your maximum life. This should allow us to go ahead and pick up perfect storm. Storm skills that you cast grant 1 spirit and deal 15% more damage. This is a multiplier when damaging a vulnerable, immobilized, or slowed enemy. So again, another multiplicative source of damage. This is a really, really good skill. So get this as soon as you can. Once you get this, at this point, you can just go back and fill in. All these passes are pretty good to get after you get this. You know, if you want to get more damage, get this. I actually got this last. You know, you can go back. This is a really good one to get early. You can get this one if you feel like you have no spirit issues. You can also go up here and grab these. Now what I did was put 1 point here, 1 point here, and I got this first because I like the lucky hit my chance when dealing damage to a vulnerable, immobilized, or stunned enemy that a lightning bolt also hits, dealing 55% damage. So this gives you a big chunk of damage whenever it goes off, and so it's kind of nice. So what I did was I went 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then I filled these in later as you level. What you're going to find is it doesn't really matter, is that your build is going to come online pretty quickly, and once you get it online, these are just going to be, every time you level up, you're going to feel more powerful because you're going to be grabbing a lot of multipliers and a lot of extra sources of damage here. And so the build really feels good, and then just whenever you feel like it, you can transition out of this build into like an in-game build that you choose, depending on what aspect drops you get. Okay, so hopefully that covers all the passives. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If I missed anything or you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear it. And there you have it, guys. Over the last week, I've used this build 3 times to level a druid from 1 to 50. I've achieved this in around 4 hours. This truly underscores how effective this build really is. If you have any questions or suggestions, I encourage you to share them in the comment section below. Here's wishing you guys all a successful season start, and I genuinely hope this build proves beneficial. Until we meet again, this is Paragon, and I'll see you in the next video.